Neighborhood Services Division of the Development Services Department is responsible for administering the city's nuisance abatement programs, including the removal of high grass and weeds on private property. The division employs 2 full-time property inspectors whose sole task is to identify, investigate, and initiate actions to eliminate nuisances throughout the city. Annually, it is necessary to send out abatement letters to at least 10% of the 15,000 individual properties located inside the city limits for an assortment of nuisances. This scenario is not exclusive just to Ponca City, as other communities in the state are facing the same challenges in keeping their communities attractive in the face of changing demographics, an older housing stock, and declining neighborhood values. To that end, many communities have beefed up their manpower in the area of nuisance abatement to more aggressively attack this problem. Last year alone, the city spent over $30,000 to hire private contractors to mow and or clean up properties that had been abandoned or foreclosed upon. It is the staff's policy to follow a certain protocol with regard to the abatement of nuisances. Local property owners found guilty of an offense face criminal charges of up to $500 in municipal court, while an administrative process as provided by the state is necessary to abate nuisances involving those persons residing outside the city jurisdiction or whose whereabouts are unknown. As a general rule, the city does not mow properties that are locally owned. The administrative process requires specific notice requirements before the city may mow a property and then subsequently file a lien on the property in order to recoup their cost. In order to meet the notice requirements for legal due process, the city cannot physically mow a property until a total of 10 days has passed. This lapse in time between the notice and the mowing of property can be a source of frustration for nearby property owners who simply want to see their problem addressed as soon as possible. The overwhelming majority of nuisance lots are eliminated by the owner after a violation sticker has been placed on the property. Only 4 to 6% of nuisance properties ever reach municipal court, where the judge must certify them as a nuisance. Even then, the owner may commence mowing them before the city has authority to do so. Although some nuisance activities are proactive in nature, the majority of work is generated by calls from concerned citizens who are for the most part the eyes and ears of the city. When growing season is at its peak, personnel from other city departments assist the neighborhood services staff and conduct sweeps of the city designed and intended to identify every high grass and weed lot that exists at that time. This enhanced enforcement program utilizes personnel from the street department, parks and recreation, solid waste, and the police department extra eyes. Tandems of survey teams scour predetermined areas of the city and identify the locations of these individual nuisance properties. While in the field, they report back to code enforcement staff by cell phone of the location of the nuisance property. The code staff then determines the owner of record using the city's GIS capabilities, fills out mandatory notice requirements set by the state, and sets a court date in which the owner is required to appear if he or she does not eliminate the nuisance. The forms are then forwarded immediately to a pair of administrative assistants who label the envelopes and mail the notices. Literally, hundreds of nuisance complaints are identified in a period of only 4 hours. Along with high grass and weed season comes the habit of some mowers wanting to blow grass clippings into the street. These clippings eventually congregate at stormwater inlets along the roadway and clog up the city's drainage system when rain events occur. Citizens should be aware that this practice is illegal and fines may be assessed to those who violate this provision. The owner of property upon which trees, shrubs, or plants are growing adjacent to the street and sidewalk must trim the vegetation back so that it doesn't obstruct the free and convenient travel along sidewalks or streets. This includes all dead, decayed, or broken branches that may overhang the sidewalk or street. Vegetation must be trimmed to provide clearance of at least 8 feet above sidewalks and at least 14 feet above streets and alleys.